All right, y'all. Welcome back to a revamped, revised series of the Hidden Creations. We're going to do things a little bit differently. I know you all typically hear my voice, but this year I just wanted to do something a little bit different and do like a video podcast sort of thing. I definitely will be getting different equipment here soon, but this is what we have to work with. I hope you all can see me. I'm tired. I know you probably see it in my eyes, my voice, making this transition from the Midwest to Washington, and then just the whole time differential. Washington's 2 hours behind, so like right now, it would be like 11:46 where I'm the Midwest, and it's only 9:46 here. So I'm probably going to be getting into bed here, but I did want to make this video. As you all can see, the title of today's video is, wow, I'm tired. Sorry, I just had a like brain fart there. The Dark Night of the Soul. Wow. Look, I promise you, we're gonna get through this. But I really wanted to talk about this topic because the Dark Night of the Soul. I think it's something that we all, well, I don't, at least I feel personally, my opinions on it, and just from my experience, it's something that we all experience, and you will experience like multiple dark nights of the soul. Now, you've probably heard of this. Maybe somebody's used the terminology before, and you're probably asking, well, what does that mean? What is that? My best way I like to, another way I like to explain it is it's Spirit's way of refocusing you or putting you right on the right track, or what's your purpose and your mission, or whatever it is you were here to do, learn, to get, whatever it may be. This is in a sense a recalibration, so to speak, when we talk about the dark night of the soul. And what I mean by that is you will have moments where Spirit will seem to remove everything that is not necessarily in alignment for you, that's not where like you're going down the road, what's not long term for you. And sometimes in those moments of when it happens, it can catch us completely like shocked, off guard, completely surprised, and we weren't expecting it. And what I realize is, both however you look at it, positive or negative, the unexpected things in life are the greatest thing. And even like I said, in this instance, both positive or negative. So, what do I mean by the dark night of the soul? A lot of times they can unexpectedly remove things out of your life. Whether that may be people, it may be a job, it may be a car. And essentially, like what this is and what's going on is this process of like purging, clearing out space in order to make room for what is for you, what is going to be beneficial, effective, and for you for the long term. And I found that within these moments, it's best to not resist them, best to not fight them, and to simply flow with them, allow them to be. Really try to approach it from a perspective of understanding, okay, why were these things removed? Why were they taken out? What were they doing for me, whether that was something that might be positive or something that was negative. Was it draining you? Was it keeping you constantly exhausted mentally, emotionally, and so forth? Were these things happening? And that's kind of the perspective I would encourage you all to like look at this from and take it from that viewpoint and that perspective, and not just to see like, oh, this, because in that moment, what I've come to find out is it doesn't feel the best. It feels like the world's kind of caving in on you. It feels like what your norm is completely being kind of like the rug's been swept from up underneath your feet, and it can sometimes be difficult to, you know, bear with. I know myself, I've had like multiple nights, multiple dark night of the soul where it seemed like, man, why did this happening? Why does it seem like it's always me going through this? Which it's not, of course. And even in those moments, I had to kind of stop myself because now it's approaching it from more of that victim mentality, me, 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 me. Which we're all going through different trials, tribulations, different challenges. But what I've come to learn throughout going through a few different ones now at this point is it's always like a quantum leap, a quantum level up. Like you're getting to that next level. Like certain things have to be removed in order for you to reach the next level within your journey, your awareness, your ascension, whatever it is of knowledge of self. Like these things are going to be exposed. And a lot of the times, if I'm being real with you, it's not going to have the most happy, lottie dotty feelings at first. But if you see it from like a point A to point B from when it initially happened, then to how it transformed you, changed you as you came out of it, you'll see that there is a noticeable difference from it's like, oh, I get it now, or oh, that makes sense, or oh, I understand. But like I said, as you're actually going through it moment by moment, it doesn't always feel that way. If anything, it feels like the exact opposite. You feel the pressure. Like I said, you feel like you've hit rock bottom. You feel like just everything is taking a huge um, just taking a change. And I know sometimes if you're somebody like me, we're not always, or you don't always enjoy change. Change is not always the easiest, especially if you like doing things routinely. You like setting certain habits, and because this can completely knock out your routine. I mean, everything can be removed. If your focus is not where it's supposed to be, say you've been putting something off, where that's like some type of job, some type of project, something, and like you've been feeling that calling to go back and go get done or to do it, or you've been feeling a calling to separate for something, and like you choose not to. It's like your like spirit's way of jumping into the driver's seat of your reality, and not really jumping because it always is in the driver's seat in the sense. It's just up to listen and go along with it. But it's kind of like it's override, and it jumps in, and then like it wipes stuff away. Like it's a clearing thing. Like it's definitely a purging, almost type of like new moon energy of like new phases, new cycles beginning and certain ones ending. But again, at the end of the day, this is all for your benefit, on your behalf, for you, like I said, to help you get to that next level. And one of the things, like I said, I encourage is to look at it from what can I learn from this? What type of lesson or what type of cycle or pattern do I notice that has ultimately led me to this moment? Like, have I gone through this before? Whatever that cycle is that you may be facing in that current time, or some of the same experiences happen? Are you still having some of the same frequent thoughts? Are you still doing some of the same exact thing? That's the thing, like your spirit, and especially if you have that desire and you're putting that intent out there for things to be, different. Only change can happen. Only things can be different if you choose to do something differently. If you choose to change the action, if you choose to create um, better habits. We have to look at our programming and our conditioning to see what we have been done. And as I've always directed people back, you need to look at your childhood, look at the very beginning, look to see where you first initially started doing things. Because ultimately, whoever your caretaker was, the environment that you grew in, you are essentially imitating those behaviors of your caretakers, whether it's parents, grandparents, etc. You are taking on the way of how they did things. And then and I'll say even to an extent, you may not do certain things because of how they did it, because it just drove you the wrong way. But even within that, you have to really kind of reflect and look over to say like, hey, my behavior, what I'm doing on a daily day basis, the thoughts that I'm having, is this beneficial for me? And that's why I kind of circling back around, I go back to say like this is kind of a recalibration for the dark night of the soul, because it's trying to essentially like not leave any room for doubt, like letting you know like, yeah, this person was toxic, this person wasn't good for you, this person just wasn't in an alignment or where you're trying to go. And that's okay, like and not to jump around a lot, and that's not what I want to do, but like letting go is a huge thing. Everything of course at the end of the day boils down to balance, but attaching and holding yourself on to toxic relationships, that can be platonic, romantic, friendships, you name it, holding and attaching yourselves onto that. And like I said, especially if it's causing you to feel like drained, exhausted, those things can definitely be key indicators of what needs to be removed, what needs to be released. These are vibrations that you don't essentially resonate with. They cause like a dissonance, if anything. And those are things that need to be cut off or snipped. That way you're having more frequent, more harmonious, more of an enjoyable experience. And that's essentially like what's happening and what's trying to be created, what your spirit is trying to do for you by removing these things that are not resonating. As you grow older, you mature, you get more wiser, you start, you learn more, you put it together and add on top of what you're already aware of. there's certain things that just have to be removed. There's certain things that you can't do anymore, and it kind of goes back to that saying, when you know better, you do better. And I'll be the first one to admit and say that's easier said than done. I know for me, I've had to work on discipline, work on being consistent, work on learning to stay focused and limit and remove my distractions. I've had to learn how to trust myself, learn how to acknowledge my insecurities, acknowledge my flaws, and be able to truly like look at them from a genuine loving standpoint and understand like, hey, I need to nurture these areas of myself. I need to put a focus towards it and not just put it off, not just avoid it because it is uncomfortable, because I don't like how it's feel. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if we choose to ignore these things and choose to put them off, Spirit will do everything to shed light onto them where you have no choice. It will, like, in a sense, kind of turn that fire up a little bit, put more pressure on you, put more challenges in your way, to get that transformation. It's like you can go with the flow or you can go against it before you get to those dark nights of the soul. And if you choose not to, it's like you're on a kind of, in a sense, in for a rude awakening. And it is what it is. And I'm laughing because it's like when I think about the times in my past where I could have like heeded to Spirit and like listened and did what Spirit was asking and not avoiding it and not rejecting and not like, oh, being stubborn, which, hey, I mean, to a degree I am. But that's just me, and then something I'm working on, of course, but and not that it matters, but it works for me. But it's something I do have to, if it's, I don't want to go through this process, if I don't want to have this negative experience, if I don't want to continue to keep going through these things, then I need to make these core changes that affect you, like I said, at a core level, who you are. And it's not that it's a bad thing, it's just something becoming mindful and becoming aware and taking the necessary steps in order to get that change. Because ultimately, when you start changing your actions, you start changing the way you think about things. And, like the saying goes, where your attention goes, your energy flows. And when your attention is not on the negative, but the things of which you have control over, which you can fix, which you can change, and you start actively like doing and acting on those things, you're going to see a few things happen here. One, you're going to notice the difference in the change within. And then if you remember law of correspondence, as within, so without, we're going to also start to noticing a difference within our reality. We're going to start, obviously you probably start believing in yourself more. You'll start feeling more motivated, have the desire, the determination, and then you're going to have experiences that are going to reinforce those beliefs. And then on top of that, going back to the action that you're putting in, remember the macrocosm to the microcosm. We are the micro, universe is the macro. However, as above, so below, still law of correspondence. And what we're doing here, in a sense, is amplified or magnified or increased on that universal scale. Like when it's like you got to meet him half. You got to meet Spirit halfway. Like Spirit is going to work within your reality, your universe, to make things happen. But you have to be willing to put that foot forth. I mean, you all definitely know I'm not very big religious, but sometimes that Bible be having gems. But it goes back to that whole saying, faith without works is dead. And I truly do believe that, like, you can have the vision, the goal, where you're trying to go, but if you're not having any action to back that up, if you're not taking steps to have the experiences and to practice and go see it for yourself, whatever it is that you're involved in, that you're doing, and you're just kind of sitting back, hoping that next day somebody else is going to do it for you or something's just going to magically happen. Not to say that it can't, because I definitely do believe the possibility is boom, snap, crackle, pop, it just manifests. I really do believe that it's happened, but I also do feel that you have to, in a sense, kind of train your mind to get to that level of that way of being where things just, because you have to think about the conditioning of your mind where it's at. I know I've kind of gone off a little bit, but if you can constantly look at seeing yourself as the victim, things always happening to you, you're going to pinpoint and notice things within your reality that further like reinforce that. And that's what they kind of call self-fulfilling prophecies and shit. And like I said, a lot of times this stuff is happening to change the way you think, change the way that you perceive your reality, because your reality as an individual is very subjective to you and your perception of that experience that you're having. So, like I said, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, if things seem to be out of your control, it's best to not resist that. It's best to go with that. Best to allow things to happen. Best to let it kind of unfold. Just if you're watching a movie and you're being the observer, you have to let it play out to see how it's going to end. I assure you, by you doing that and then trying to approach it from a perspective of what is this teaching me? What is this revealing to me? What is this showing to me? And not running away from those uncomfortable emotions and really connecting back with your body, your emotions, and your sensual nature. What you're allowing yourself to do is, like I said, essentially get to that next level. You'll be able to not only get to that next level, but like you'll be able to do this for yourself. And even as you have, dark nights of the soul within the future, you'll be able to approach it in a much different way where it won't maybe last as long, or it won't seem to be as heavy or as um, just seems as tough, as much pressure. You'll be able to handle it a little bit better. So I may go into, I want to kind of keep these a little short and whatnot. I don't want to make them too long. I'm thinking I may make a part two to that. But yeah, I hope that, maybe there was something said that, or was broken down in a way that resonates with you. If it doesn't, that's okay. But I do hope this video does find the individual who it does resonate with, and things can be said just to kind of give you a different perspective, to give you a different outlook. But much love for all the support, all the followers and subscribers. I really do thank you just for tuning in. But other than that, till next time, thank you for watching. Peace.